What's up, everybody? I'm back, man. Check this out, people. For those of you that are just now tuning in, this is a fitness channel with a twist, people. Yes, a fitness channel with a twist. Now, before I go and move on, today's twist, I'm going to elaborate on a couple people, Mr. Goldtoes and Rowdy Rax. Failing talents, the word on the curb is. You know what I'm saying? So anyways, that will be today's twist, man. But before we go and move on, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all. Let's share this channel. Once we get to 10,000 subscribers, I will start going lives. Okay? And do me a favor. Hit that hype button. Okay? It doesn't cost you anything. It'll help push my channel out. That way I can reach that 10,000 goal mark faster. That way we can start doing lives. You guys already know on my lives, everyone is welcome to pull up. Now, with that being said, I had one of my guys, or one of my subscribers, wanted me to elaborate a little bit on intermittent fasting. Okay. So I was going to get into detail about this because I have done it in the past, the whole process of the way to do intermittent fasting, especially when you apply keto to it, you know, the benefits and how it improves your overall system internally. You know, it reconditions your organs because it wakes your organs up to make them get back to work again, to build themselves. You know what I mean? But that would probably take most of this video, so I'm not going to do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you an idea of my intermittent fasting, the way I do it. Okay. This is an intermittent fasting that probably nobody else follows. This is something that I created for myself, and this is what I do on my fitness program, okay? I am a full-time online fitness coach, and like I said, if you want to get started in your fitness journey, you just hit me up, man. It's high-power-fitness, high_power_fitness_, or email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. On my Instagram, I have testimonials from team members, non-team members, and transformations. I even have my transformation as well. So I hate that I'm talking so fast, people, but I do not want to be out here any longer than I have to, okay? Even though the sun is good for your body, natural vitamin D, and I recommend getting at least 10,000 units per day, you know what I mean? I believe it's called IU units. I forget, it's been a minute, but anyways, I would recommend 10,000. So anyways, I'm going to give you the breakdown of my intermittent fasting, okay? And the importance of knowing how to do it correctly, okay? Because there's a lot of people that try to do these prolonged fastings, and with prolonged fastings, there's a technique behind it, okay? You cannot attempt to do a prolonged fast by consuming a lot of carbs, because with carbs, you're going to create insulin spikes, and with insulin spikes, you're going to create cravings, and you're going to get hangry issues, okay? So back to what I do. I call mine the 10-4 fast, okay? Now, keep in mind, I don't do this year-round. I like to switch up my nutritional diet, and the reason is because your body learns to adapt to its environment. It's like with anything in life, you learn to adapt, okay? You can move, especially if you were one of them cats like me that was moved all over the place. You learn to adapt to your environment, okay? So with my 10-4 fasting, this is what I mean by that, people, okay? So I have a 10-4 fasting. My first meal, when I'm going to start off with my intermittent fasting, I do 10 o'clock, my first meal, okay, 10 o'clock in the morning. Keep in mind, I'm up since 2 o'clock in the morning. I've did my exercise and all that. Once 10 o'clock comes around, I eat my first meal. 3 hours later, I will consume a second meal. That's my 1 o'clock meal. 3 hours after that, I will consume my final meal. Now from 4 o'clock to the next day, I will not eat anything until I run that same cycle in. And this is repetitive for 4 days out of the week. I know some people like to do like 3 18s and maybe a couple 24s, or however they choose to do it. With me, I do 4 18s and 2 24s back to back. There's a reason why I do this, people, because when you bring your body to this cycle that they call autophagy, what happens with that, your body tends to fend for itself, and it starts recycling damaged proteins that are in your cells and tissues, okay? It will recycle those, break them down, and reuse them as amino acids, which are very essential for building muscle, okay? Now, back to my intermittent fasting. This is how I do it. This is my starter, okay? Keep in mind, this is not the way I finish off in my fast. I introduce my body to a new diet, okay? I don't come in there trying to go gung-ho, because when you do attempt anything in life like that, you're gonna encounter problems, and it's gonna make you want to derail. Now, if you ain't got that proper mindset built up of a warrior, you're gonna tap out straight up. You know what I mean? I've seen it time after time, you know, with some of my team members. They come in gung-ho with the eye of the tiger, and I tell them to pump their brakes. You're going too fast. And the reason is because when you overwork yourself and you start applying and doing all this extra, you feel like you're entitled to extra results. It doesn't work that way. The body doesn't work that way, okay? There's a science behind this stuff, people, and this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. So my introduction to my intermittent fasting is my 10-4 fasting, I call it. First meal, 10 o'clock, second meal, 1 o'clock, last meal, 4 o'clock. I'll do that 4 days a week. On my 5th and 6th day, I'll start my first and last meal probably like 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'll run it until the next 8 o'clock in the morning, and then carry that on over until Monday. That's the way my fasting works, okay? Now, gradually, what I do by my 10-4, and this is why I call it the 10-4, this is why I named it the 10-4. So throughout the week, I come off my fast at 8 o'clock in the morning on Monday. Okay, that's what time I'm supposed to come off, okay? But I actually don't eat until 10 o'clock. So it actually becomes a 26-hour fast for me. Now, once I start doing this fast, the 10-4 fast, I only eat twice a day. My meals will become bigger. Okay? Now, what is important when you attempt to do any type of fasting is you need to have the adequate amount of food required by your body, but it's also very important that you put in correct foods. Do not try to attempt these fasts by filling your gut with junk. It just is not going to be good. It's going to be uncomfortable, and you're not going to get the results that you're chasing after. Okay? Basically, what I do when I do my fasting, I apply a keto diet. I eat very low carbs, very low carbs. I'll probably consume maybe 12 carbs per day. And the reason why I do this is because I like to bring my body to ketogenesis. Ketogenesis is where it utilizes the fat as a primary source of fuel for your body. Now keep in mind, a lot of you misinterpret this stuff right here. When it comes to fasting, they believe it's putting your body through starvation. Absolutely not. Intermittent fasting, people, is a controlled environment. Okay? Trust and believe. If your body was starving, you would go through a state called catabolic state. With catabolic state, it'll start eating your muscles and eating your organs, and you will shut down. Okay, so it's far from being in that starvation mode, okay? You mimic that environment to a certain extent. That's why it's called a controlled eating. You control the frequency of eating, which is very important. And the reason why you do this is because you need to manipulate your body to learn to survive off of the stored glycogen that it has in its body. And at the end of the day, you guys got to remember, even the skinniest person out there probably has at least 200,000 calories of stored glycogen on their body. So you are not going to go into that catabolic state. Okay? Now, like I said, when I do my intermittent fasting, I apply ketogenic to it. But it is very important to understand what type of foods you need to give your body. Now, if you're doing this to make an attempt to lose weight, you want to minimize your fats. Always make sure you're eating quality protein, quality fats. Okay, you want a good source of protein, preferably grass-fed, you know what I mean? And the fats, I would highly recommend coming from like avocados and stuff like that. Stay away from the peanut butter, you know, because peanut butter, like I said, if you're making an attempt to drop some weight, it will slow the process down. Me, I do it to recondition my organs and to utilize whatever remaining fat I have on my body. Okay, as you guys can see, I haven't really been doing it that often because I've gotten a little bit more thicker than what I normally am, because I'm actually doing my reverse. And like I said, one of my team members asked me too, hey, how long is it going to take you to get to the weight that's your desired, coach? I said in about a year. It's only 10 pounds, but I want to do it correctly. I don't want to be one of those subjects that bulk up, cut, bulk up, cut, bulk up, cut. And the reason is because you put yourself at risk. A lot of times when you put yourself in that comfort zone where you're bulking up, you might just stay in that stage because you find it a lot easier to sustain that look. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want to lose sight of that. And me, I know what my weakness is, and it is sweets. You know, so that's why I stay away from that. But anyways, so that is what my intermittent fasting consists of, people. It's the 10-4 fast. Okay, the most simplest way to do it for anybody that wants to get started. When you get up in the morning, you're used to eating at a certain time, push that breakfast a couple hours down. You guys need to understand, the title breakfast is a fast. That's when you break your fast. So everybody does a fast, regardless if they want to admit it or not. That from the time you go to sleep to the time you wake up where you're not eating, that is your fast. Unless you're one of them cats that, you know, sleep with snacks by your bed all night. And trust and believe, I've known people to do that. Man, I had a Sally, man, that this fool, my goodness, he would have his snacks on the go right there. He'd wake up and roll over and take a couple bites of his Zoom Zooms and Wham Bams and go right back to sleep. You know what I mean? And what was the trip about this dude? He wasn't overweight, you know what I mean? But what he was suffering with is diabetes, you know. So this dude, he was just living recklessly. He didn't care, you know. And I can make some accusations why he was living like that because of the lengthy sentence that he had, you know. But who knows, you know what I mean? Maybe he just didn't give a shit. I don't know. At the end of the day, like I said, man, this right here, this video at the beginning right here is for you guys that are interested in starting that intermittent fasting. If you attempt to make a prolonged fast, something other than 72 hours long, which I don't recommend for any beginner, there's a correct way and a wrong way to come off of that. I could do a 72-hour fast, and I don't have to minimize the amounts of food that I reintroduce to my body. Why? Because I'm at a different level than most cats. For the people that aren't really conditioned for that, you're going to find yourself nauseous. Your stomach's going to be upset. You may even cause constipation. Okay, so introduce bone broth, avocados, slightly, a little bit at a time, and then introduce a meal, but not too big. You know what I'm saying? You got to give your body enough time to identify what's going on again, because you've put it through a stage that it's not normally used to going through. Okay, so anyways, with that being said, people, man, I went on a whole lot, huh? So I'm not going to be able to go with this video too much longer, but Mr. Goldtoes, man, he's hitting the limelight again. People are saying that his career is coming to an end. I could tell you right now, his career is nowhere near. I was just on the horn with him. People are making accusations about him hanging out with that fucking that piece of shit. I know the whole story behind it. Goldtoes is one of my team members. Not only is he my team member, he's like my brother from another mother. I've been to his house. I've been to his ranch. I've met his mom. I've met his son, his wife, his aunts. You know what I mean? When I pull up to their parties, I'm sitting VIP with them. You know, so as far as my boy Goldtoes, I know a lot of people are going to bash me. I don't really give a fuck. You know what I mean? He is a milestone for gente that they should be looking up to, man, because he's opening up doors. I remember when I first met him and we were cruising down there in the Bay Area, and I said on one of my shorts that I had put up, I said, man, you guys motherfucking better recognize this gentleman right here is opening up doors for people. You guys that want to keep on fucking around with your ego and pride, you're going to stay exactly where you're at. You know, sometimes you have to rub elbows with people that you ain't normally used to rubbing elbows with. And that's what I've done. You know, ever since I've met Goldtoes, and like I said, I chop it up with him on a regular basis. You know what I mean? So a lot of these people that put out content on him, they put out content from only what they know. You know what I mean? I know personal stuff about my boy, but I don't like to put up content about him. You know what I mean? I mean, this is about as far as I would go. You know what I'm saying? But that man doesn't receive the flowers that he should. Yeah, I understand he did business at one point in time with that piece of shit that's in there. The one that looks like a fucking you guys already know that. I don't even know his name, but I remember the last time when I was in the joint, I remember people were rocking that fool's music. I didn't even know who in the fuck he was. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden, he's banned and taking off their music files and all that. You know, I question that shit. You know what I mean? Because I'm gonna give you an example with R. Kelly. He's a piece of shit too, but I guarantee a lot of you folks still have his music in his file. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't mean that you support that individual. Because no matter how you look at that fool got talent, R. Kelly. I'm not speaking about the other dude. Why? Because I've never listened to his music. I don't know who in the fuck he is other than what people put out here on social media, and that he is a piece of shit. And I would never co-sign anything or anybody that supports him. Yeah, I know you guys are going to say Goldtoes supports him. No, he was at one point in time played a role in Goldtoes' life. So that's what Goldtoes is doing right now. He's doing, I believe, a documentary on his life. Okay, now with that being said, that's enough for my boy Goldtoes. Let's get to the main person that I really want to talk about, Rowdy Rax. Now that is a fucking talent that is gonna go straight down the drain, man. You know, that to me, all bullshit aside, him and Lefty, they're both Valleros, a different stilo of Valleros, I should say. But Rowdy Rax blows Lefty gunplay out the water. That's my personal opinion. The only thing what I don't like about what Rowdy Rax does, he uses that N-word more than I've ever heard brothers use it. You know, I don't find that, I just can't accept it. You know what I'm saying? He's caught up on a fucking high-speed chase, felony evasion. From my understanding, that will carry anywhere from, if it's his first offense, he might have at least 7 months in the county jail. But he's already on probation, so more than likely he's going to catch some state time. That's my belief, unless the system has changed. You know what I mean? Because let's keep it real. Motherfuckers are getting away with all kinds of shit nowadays, you know, especially the dope fiends. And obviously he's a dope fiend. There was another individual that spoke on Rowdy Rax saying that he should have somebody that carries his bag and all that. Why would anybody want to carry that boy's bag? He is not at that level. He's not at Tupac's level and shit like that, where people are going to carry straps for him, this and that. He's just another nobody in the neighborhood. Somebody that the homies are fucking straight up, and I'm keeping it real and 100%, little homie. If you ever hear this video, your direct surroundings that are fucking cheering you on and getting high, instead of telling you, hey, canal, keep fucking spitting them flows and stacking that paper, those ain't your real homies, man. They're just around there for the fucking party. You know, here's to Mr. Lefty Gunplay, man. Hey, I tip my hat to you, Kanan. I believe, you know, there's a logical explanation behind everything that goes on in life, and I hope dearly that you went to that rehab because you really wanted it, and more than likely you've been there long enough, man. It's gonna settle into you, and you're gonna apply it to your life. You know, you might have went there because you had an ulterior motive, because, you know, you do have a pending case, you know, and we all know the way we try to fake the front, you know what I mean, by trying to make a good impression to the courts and shit. Oh, he's admitted himself to rehab, this and that. He's doing these classes, get whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. You know what I mean? That way they have leniency on you. But from my understanding, in Texas, don't fuck around. You know, I wish you the best, my boy. I hope you really do take that rehab serious, Lefty. You have the look and all that, my boy. You're shining, no matter whether. I like some of your raps. I'm not gonna lie. Not all of them, but you know, I would highly recommend a ghostwriter for you. But who knows? You may be better if you're sober now. I really don't see it because a lot of that talent comes throughout that fucking dope. It's kind of like with Rowdy Rax. I don't think Rowdy Rax would be able to perform the way he does if he wasn't high. You know, that's became part of his life. So that's what is accepted to him, you know. As far as him landing behind them walls and using that N-word, nowadays nothing surprises me. Like I said, man, they're able to buy their way back now. It's fucking crazy. So I think he'll be all right, but I don't think he's going to get out. But I tell you one thing, he will mind somebody. At the beginning, they're going to know who he is. And if he has a bag, he's going to become used as a homie that buys everybody tienda. And once it dries up, once that well dries up, you're just another homie in there. You're going to follow the reglas. You're not going to be bigger than the program. I don't give a fuck who you are or how bad you think you are. You could have chungums for days, baby. You will get got. Because nobody's bigger than the program. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, man, with that being said, I hope fucking Rowdy Rax, me personally, this is just me. He's young, he's reckless. He ain't got none of his homeboys from his hood supporting him. It doesn't seem like it because they let him run reckless like that. That's a talent, man, that could put him on the map for fucking days, for decades. He's very talented. There's, you know what, I'm not even getting into that because I had to start something else. There's certain individuals that claim, you know, they should be supporting him, straight up. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, Rowdy Rax, my boy, he's young, he's reckless. I really don't believe another rehab is going to fucking do good for him. I think he needs to go sit down for a little bit. That way he could realize the shit that he lost and how good he had it. That's real talk, you know what I mean? I'm not going to sit here and do that because, you know, that's to bring me to an individual that, you know, he did all this time and claimed that I wouldn't be able to identify to certain things. Obviously, this cat did most of his time being a dope fiend. I was used to seeing that too. I used to see homies all the time pulling up Malias, big old brocheros, Malias for days, you know what I mean? And that's all they were ever doing was fucking going back to the county. You know what I mean? By the time you finished with the county, I was already probably starting my second term. But anyways, that's here nor there. Rowdy Rax looks like a talent that will go to waste if they send him back to another rehab, man. He's going to fall right back into suit, and his homies ain't going to fucking ruin the party that they were having, because more than likely the people that he surrounds himself were all fucking scantaneros too. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I say that with respect, man, because there was one point in my time where I was fucked up on that shit too. And that shit is no joke, man. That's just the cucuy right there. That cri-cri, my goodness, it gets you by the motherfucking nuts. You will forget who the fuck you are. You will start to lose your identity. Well, anyways, people, with that being said, man, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the hype button. Let's get to 10,000 subscribers. Once we reach that 10,000 mark, I will start doing lives. If you want to get started on your fitness journey, hit me up. It's High Power Fitness, high_power_fitness_, or you could email me at highpowerfitness@yahoo.com. Now, get up and get yours.